when I was growing up, I thought that, hey, I was going to be this great athlete, but I didn't. Obviously, that didn't pan out. But I bring that up because the story really is about using all your experiences to become the artist that you are. And that is a very general term, but some artists are business people. Some artists are painters. Some are poets. Some are musicians. But the truth is, if you look at what God created us to be, creative spirits to relate to the universe, and as we get more wise and older, we recognize that it's simple, that God created us to be this loving human spirit that is creative and connects to one another. Now, we all do it differently. I took a long path because after high school, I traveled a lot, and I knew very quickly that all I was relating to was these amazing stories of history and art and architecture, and I just loved that. And so I was like, hey, I want that to be part of my dialogue. I want that to be part of my work and my adventure. I think what this is all about is how can you be adventurous? How can you be curious? And how do you take each one of your experiences, good and bad, and apply them to where you are right now? So yes, I traveled a lot. I studied abroad. I decided to go in the US Peace Corps, and I went to North Africa and Tunisia. And that's when things kind of exploded. And that's where I was like, whoa, I was in the middle of the Sahara Desert. And I was like, ooh, the language is tough. Culture's different. I need to relate to people. And I started doing that through my art. And so I would do murals on sides of these stucco buildings. I would start art groups and bring people together. It just seemed natural. And that kind of this idea of I was all about the community and connection. And to me, connection was through creativity and painting. And I kind of honed in on that. That was when the call to action came, because we all have these little jabs inside us. And they're like, hey, that feels right. That feels right. How am I going to act on it? But sometimes they're maybe not the right place and the right time to act on it. But when I was in the Peace Corps from 94 to 96, I knew that was a time for me to discover the world and be at a place where I could be accepting to things that are very different and open up my mind. And once I did that, that channel of creativity started flowing right through me. I didn't have expectations. I didn't have to worry about money. I did, but it was I don't have a family. And so I put myself out there in a very vulnerable situation. And I said, all right, I'm here. What do I do? And for me, that action was, hey, wake up and let's let that divine spirit work through you. And for me, it was painting and language. And I couldn't stop painting. And I would send every day. I did sketches and watercolors. And I sent mail to friends and family. And that was my grounding place. And so I built structure through that. So the Peace Corps was incredible because I love history. I love the Middle East. I love North Africa. And that was a major turning point in how I define my art practice today. So after the Peace Corps, I came back and reality set in, and then I'm an extreme type of guy. So I knew that the only way to really discover things is really put yourself in places that are very different. And if you can do that, you will see these magical moments come to you, and they're hard and they're tough, but you'll wake up and say, I'm glad I challenged myself. So I go from the Peace Corps to Wall Street. I wanted to make money. I wanted to learn about capitalism. I wanted to provide for my family, and it just seemed that was the normal route. People were like, I don't understand. Well, I grew up outside of New York City. And so a lot of friends and families, they worked there. So I thought that was what people did. Right. So, it wasn't because I was better or cooler. I went to Harvard Business School. Not. I just did what everybody was doing. And so I commuted into the city after, 96 to 99. I worked for this financial company called Bloomberg Financial Markets. And that was one of the best experiences I could have. And learning about capitalism and sales and marketing and strategy. And I also met my wife there too. So it was a huge, it was timeless. But I bring that up because all this is about a journey. And the journey, someone didn't tell me, go out and do all these different things. But I think the true people who are really happy in the universe are the ones that are really not afraid to kind of take risks. The risk doesn't mean to be like, hey, I'm going to bet the whole house. Here we go. Here's my $10 million. We're going big time. No, it's put yourself in these places that you can sort of see small victories. And for me, I was still young and I was able to take some risk and challenges. And that wasn't massive financial risk, but it was more personal, mental, psychological, spiritual risk. And I grew from that. And the Peace Corps and working in Wall Street and Bloomberg gave me a chance to really define my skill sets and saying, hey, what am I really good at? What am I really bad at?
Yeah.
You know, I knew how to, the key was, can you fail fast? And if you fail fast, learn from it. That's what Bloomberg really put me out there and said, oh, whoa, I am really not good with numbers. I'm not quick on my feet. I'm not as analytical as I am, but I'm creative, I'm smart, I'm a good people person, I'm a great connector, I can get things done, I know how to execute. So I found my own role within that organization.
You really saw then your highlights and your lowlights, or like you said, your assets and the things that maybe, you know, that's not your forte. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I want your audience to understand, like, the journey is like, once you realize that this is not about me, it's about me being part of a higher being, and that is being part of the path of joy, creativity, and love. That spiritual movement will transcend to not only my family, but everybody else around us. Now, that may be too ethereal, but the truth is, by being authentic in your own self, everything else will happen.